continued to try to hijack another vehicle, but this driver didn't stop.
Wenn ich das Auto ist, dann die nicht aufnehmen. Okay.
It is a sight many are stopping to see, and no, we're not back in the Cold War, although a Russian plane landed at Meadows Field over the weekend. 23 ABC's Cassie Carlisle went to see why it's here and how Kern County is helping with an international effort.
The Russians are coming?
I happened to glance over and look.
I can say nothing.
It's like, man, what is that plane sitting there?
Russians are here.
We saw the tail and saw, the white, blue, and the red. I was like, it's Russian. So we had to stop and come over and look.
But not for what you may think. They're here on business.
This is a private company, private investors. It has nothing to do with the state of Russia at all.
The plane is here to haul a piece of machinery that refines oil.
The technology only exists in Russia and the Ukraine. It doesn't exist in the United States, so you can't have a U.S. company with this type of technology.
The pilots are going to be sitting in this cockpit for a long time. They've got 4 different stops to make before they make it to Iraq.
The AH-124-100 has to refuel because of how heavy the plane and cargo are, about 850,000 pounds total. But when it comes to the crew refueling, the plane has everything they need.
This is a room for the rest. We have six beds. This is a small kitchen. They can heat their foods, boiler, heater, and fridge.
The equipment will be loaded with the help of 2 cranes and a ramp tonight. The 250-foot plane will be taking off Tuesday evening, so you still have time to catch a glimpse of this exotic aircraft. Cassie Carlisle, 23, ABC.
That air scare overnight, a U.S. Airways jet forced to make an emergency landing without its nose gear. Sparks flying when the landing gear touched down. ABC's David Curley has the details.
That's an emergency in progress on runway 27.
Anxious moments overnight in Houston as a U.S. Airways jet lights up the dark with sparks. This emergency landing, leaving the jet looking like this morning. It's an emergency that started with this call.
Yeah, we're not sure if the gear's down or not. Can we come by? Can you see us at about 1500?
What did controllers see? No nose gear down on the Embraer jet coming in from Philadelphia. Watch in this exclusive video as the pilots
56 souls on board.
put down the rear wheels and then slowly the nose, followed by all those sparks as the jet's nose grinds on the runway, coming to a stop.
The nose gear didn't go down, so he announced he was going to make an emergency landing and that everybody would have to kind of brace on impact.
Emergency crews on the scene quickly to prevent fire. Passengers rushed off.
Some sparks and things flying when I looked out the window, and smoke, and you could smell kind of burning rubber.
The damage to the small jetliner from this harrowing landing is extensive, but no serious injuries to anyone on board. There was one passenger who was taken to a hospital with non-serious injuries. Investigators now trying to figure out why that nose gear wouldn't come down.
A dramatic chase in Australia is captured on video shot from a police helicopter. It happened last Thursday when police pursuing this blue car used tire spikes to stop it and 2 men jumped out. Police had started pursuing the car near Brisbane in Queensland, and the chase continued into New South Wales.
They're about to hijack another car.
They tried to anyway, but the driver of the white car sped off. The red car that had stopped is rear-ended and its contents spill onto the highway. The gunman continued to try to hijack another vehicle, but this driver didn't stop.
One of the people's been struck. They're trying to hijack another car.
He dropped his gun and attempted to get away, but was apprehended. Police say no one was injured in this incident.
We've got 1 in custody, 1 in custody, 2 in custody.
Local media say the men have been charged with attempted murder and face alleged carjacking charges too.
This morning, the police department in Ferguson, Missouri is experimenting with an alternative weapon. Its creators say the technology makes a bullet less deadly. Law enforcement agencies are looking at ways to cut police shooting cases. Mark Strassman shows us how the device is meant to save lives on both sides of the gun.
Less lethal, less lethal.
Stopping a deadly threat, but saving the lives of everyone involved.
Less lethal, less lethal.
That's the goal whenever cops draw their guns.
Flip this up.
Christian Ellis thinks his company has a solution, what he calls the alternative.
If the officer's life or an innocent bystander's life is in immediate danger, they need to react with their weapon. That is their first lethal force option. We just want to provide them a second one. This goes right on top of the weapon.
The alternative is that orange plastic bracket that snaps onto the barrel of the gun. When a bullet is fired,
less lethal.
It embeds in the round metal chamber at the end of the bracket and propels it toward the target.
And it hits someone or something at 1/5 the speed of a bullet?
Roughly.
And what does that difference mean?
Well, that means we slow the velocity down and we make the projectile larger, which means the likelihood of penetration and death is reduced greatly. It's going to be like a Major League Baseball player hitting you in the chest with a hammer.
Everything's taking a beating.
But the alternative did not puncture this strip of leather. The technology has intrigued dozens of police departments across the nation.
No justice! No peace!
One of them is in Ferguson, Missouri, where a police officer shot and killed 18-year-old Michael Brown last August. Ellis says he trained 5 Ferguson officers how to use the alternative last week. The department did not respond to a request for comment. But Ellis hopes Ferguson will soon introduce the $45 device to its entire force. Former police officer Eugene O'Donnell is skeptical.
There's only one shot. If you miss the shot, and the police in many places miss 80% of their shots, then you have to go lethal.
O'Donnell says he hasn't used the alternative, but he worries about those crucial split-second decisions in deadly force situations.
There might be a crucial window of time that would be lost. You might forfeit valuable time in trying to adapt your mindset to using this weapon.
How quickly can he snap it on?
Well, we have a 3-second rule. If the officer cannot safely do it in 3 seconds, we tell them to not think of our device.
The alternative's impact has never been tested on a person, but criticism of police shootings has many agencies wondering if it's time to give it a shot. For CBS This Morning, Mark Strassman, Los Angeles.
I think everybody's for better solutions, right? But the notion that you can somehow then spend the time to put this on when you're trying to make a split-second decision.
While the bad guy has a weapon that doesn't have a on. That's
tough.
To be continued.
Greetings, citizens of the world. We are anonymous. Operation ISIS continues. First, we need to clarify a few things. We are Muslims, Christians, Jews. We are hackers, crackers, hacktivists, fishers, agents, spies, or just the guy from next door. We are students, administrators, workers, clerks, unemployed, rich, poor. We are young or old, gay or straight. We wear smart clothes or rugs. We are hedonists, ascetics, joyriders or activists. We come from all races, countries, religions, and ethnicity, united as one, divided by zero. We are anonymous. Remember, the terrorists that are calling themselves Islamic State, ISIS, are not Muslims. ISIS, we will hunt you. take down your sites, accounts, emails, and expose you. From now on, no safe place for you online. You will be treated like a virus, and we are the cure. We own the internet. Now.
On Friday morning, Bob Stanley left for work from his Carlotta home on Fox Creek Road, but had to return due to flooding on Highway 36.
So I came back home and then drove down here around noon, and this one had already washed out.
And some residents I talked to say this is the worst flooding event they've seen in the 45 years they've lived on Fox Creek Road.
The rain came off the mountain so fast, just in sheets, it was like a river running downhill.
The heavy rain saturated the ground and caused blockage at 2 dual culvert bridges, which forced water into the foundation of the bridges and caused them to collapse.
We're stranded. I have no automobile on the other side here, and I need to be at work. I'm a nurse. I have animals that need to be taken care of, which need about 100 pounds of chicken food every month, which I'll be running out. We have no propane. It's starting to get low.
Fox Creek Road is privately owned, and construction of new bridges will take the road owners raising enough money to restore them. At this time, some residents can walk across the bridges using footpaths.
Which isn't real safe. As long as we don't have some more heavy rains, we're hoping that'll work.
We've got some people on here that have some medical problems that could have to get out in a heck of a hurry, and it's just not possible right now.
Residents are worried they will not be able to raise enough money to construct the new bridges.
We're hearing numbers like $40,000, $50,000 for repairs. No one has that kind of money out here.
In Carlotta, Steve King, News Channel 3.
The sounds of chainsaws alerted everyone in the neighborhood. Something big happened here. What you can't feel without going inside is the contrast between the damage and the relief. It could have been so much worse.
But we were really fortunate. It stopped right where all of our valuables from the kids growing up that are up there are, and they're all safe, so we were lucky.
Debbie Haglund and her husband were both away from the home when the tree crashed down around 11 this morning.
Yeah, it was a crazy day.
From Sky 8, you can see the tree's path. It cut all the way through to the ground.
Surreal shock. My dogs were in there howling away. And I'm just, if I would have been in the garage, I wouldn't be here talking to you.
While the problem here involved trees, south of Forest Grove, it's water. Southwest Fernhill Road often gets swamped by the nearby Tualatin River, but not often like this. One driver went past the barricades following a map and paid the price.